YouTube, Gecko guy here, going to be showing you how to install your brushless system for your Losi Micro 1/24 or 1/36 scales. What we have right here is the 8750 kV brushless system. These were on sale on eBay for like 49 bucks. That sale is currently ended, and I just jumped on it. So this is the 2.4 gigahertz board. That's a 3-wire to 2-wire, your manual and all that. So just get everything all set up, nice and clean workspace. Get your assorted drivers and get a couple of those to put your screws on, just so you don't lose anything, because these screws are easily lost. But this is gonna be a longer video, guys, so just pause this video now, grab some chips, grab some soda, alcoholic drink, whatever. But first step is you remove your crystal. Pretty straightforward. It takes a little bit of force to get it out. And then you're going to unplug your 5-wire servo. Please do not throw this out. You will need this later. But next step is to just unscrew everything. I think there's like 7 or so odd screws. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe. Yeah. And just unscrew it. Pretty straightforward on this part. I don't think I'll speed this up. I think I'll just leave it at real time. Yes, I do realize it'll be a long video, but the purpose of this video is to kind of just update what Horizon Hobby did. They did show you how to upgrade it with this exact same kit on a desert truck, I believe, the 1/36 scale. And I just thought, they didn't really get into detail on how to do it, really. So I'm going to walk you guys through this in real time. And, you guys are welcome to pause the video and follow along with me. Also, their video in the past was shot with like the world's worst video toaster. So I do realize that my hand is in the way. Kind of had to work with what angles I could get at it. It's very little parts, and it's hard to just focus in on the car. So also, guys, you want to make sure that you have no static on you. So if there's something metal, be sure to touch it constantly so you don't fry that board. I don't recommend working on carpet. You want to work on hardwood floors or a table like I'm doing right now. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out my Facebook page. There's always some cool stuff going on over there. Next part is, after you get that little shroud off, is you want to unscrew the, I believe, 4 screws on the 27 megahertz board. It's up to you whether or not you keep the board. You can sell that off on eBay Chop Shop. But me, I'm gonna keep it. And I'm probably going to use it to convert my brushless micro high roller back to brushed, because 36 scale micros are just fine on brushed motors. Now that other brushless system, it's starting to die down on me. You guys know how I feel about those micro brushless motors, especially the bullet connector ones. Those are just out of the question. But I do believe, from what my Hobby Town USA was telling me here in West Dallas, Wisconsin, that the brushless motors for Losi, the Acceleron, and the bullet connector and ESC and motor combo is discontinued. I do believe that this combo that I have currently is going to be discontinued. I hope there's something to replace it. Maybe they're going to release another micro. We don't know yet. But I'm hoping that they get a new brushless system out, because those Acceleron motors and ESCs were just not just not good. No bueno. This part is actually really tricky here, trying to move those little prongs back. So, you know, if you need another person, you know, just ask them to help you out a bit. You got to take like a flathead screwdriver and move one of the clips out of the way and then kind of pull. Keep in mind, this is a very, very fragile part of the electronics. All too many times I've accidentally snapped it off just because I wasn't careful. And, you know, or maybe I was trying to do it like a surgeon and it still snapped. But if you still want to use this, and let's say you accidentally puncture the board on the switch, you can just chop it off and solder the two wires together to make it constantly on. Which is actually what wound up happening here with my micro chuggy here. So this is no camera tricks, no lies. This is actually how difficult it can be to get that little switch out. Horizon Hobby made it look like, oh, it's a piece of cake, you guys can do it. But you know, I was struggling to get out. And I will also do a follow-up review on how I feel about the Losi Micro Chuggy Brushless. So for a spoiler alert, I do have a Losi Micro Crawler, not the Trail Trekker, but the Crawler that is also discontinued. The only thing is I fried the ESC out on that one, and it's like, $50 for a brushless system or $50 for the brushed ESC. I might as well just go brushless. I don't know. Maybe I'll stick to brushed. I'm not sure. Alright, so I came back. I cut the video there and did it off camera. The next step is to remove the motor. And it's like, you got to remove 5 screws. There's a little shroud that's covering it. I think that was like a plastic heatsink or something. But you remove those 3. 1, 2, and 3 for the motor plate. And then the 2 screws by the battery cover. Now it's optional if you want to put those 2 back in. I don't think it really needs it. I don't think it makes a difference. And I will also be doing an updated version on how to increase the steering radius. I felt like my last one, it was alright, but it could use a little bit of work. So then you just unscrew these 2 screws right there. That gets the motor out. And then you just swap the pinion over. Now, the common questions would be, should I upgrade to an aluminum spur and the brass pinions? You know, it's definitely up to you guys. You know, my theory is, you know, if you break something, you upgrade it. I just went with the plastic gears, and it seems to work out all right as long as you get your mesh right. You shouldn't have too much premature wear. I was using a small, oh yeah, you use a small flathead to pry that little pinion off so you don't like strip it. Sorry, I'm not getting that in frame. There we go, pop it right off. Alright, and that one already comes with the brass pinion on it, so that's nice and ready to go. Honestly, I think it's just fine. Brass pinion on plastic spurs. If you have the brass on aluminum, it's kind of loud and clunky, and then you get little shavings that come off unless you lubricate it slightly. So then here you just put it back in, putting this back on there, that little shroud heatsink thing, I'm not really sure. But should you put that little shroud back on that we originally did with the 7 screws? Yes, you probably should, to keep dust out it is important to keep dust out of the electronics. Then you just put the 2 screws in there. Yeah, definitely put that shroud back on, or make sure you cover up your electronics and make sure that no dust can get into it. If you want, you can even dunk it in silicone adhesives or plasti dip to make it waterproof. But a waterproof micro just absolutely makes no sense to me. It's until you start getting into minis you want to worry about waterproofing. Micros, to me, you just want to keep them just regular, and just make sure you have that washer on there when you go to put in your motor mount and set the mesh right. You know, just be patient with setting the mesh. If you get it in perfectly, you should be meshed pretty much where you don't need any adjustment. If you're using a different size pinion, then yeah, you'll probably want to you know, shift it over a bit. But I find that if you're trying to remove that stock brass pinion, you'll wind up probably either breaking the motor shaft or grinding off the pinion, which that's what I wound up doing, was just snapping the pinion off to get a new pinion on. So you know, if you want to put an aluminum spur and you want more speed, just get a bigger spur. But me, I like a balanced setup where I have enough torque and enough speed to keep me happy. I mostly run my micros indoors and on hard surfaces. The most I'll ever take them over is like some carpet, and it's plenty of power. So getting that in, showing you that it's rolling pretty nicely with the mesh currently, and you want a little bit of backlash and a little bit of play in there, but not too much play, because that'll strip your spur out. Don't want it too tight for a mesh that you'll burn your motor out and have like a really bad grinding noise. Should you upgrade to aluminum? Probably not. The only thing I really upgraded on any of my micros to aluminum was just the lock nuts. I found that I stripped out a couple of plastic ones, but those plastic lock nuts are pretty cheap. But if you want aluminum knuckles, aluminum A-arms, aluminum chassis, it's just pointless to me, in my opinion, because that adds nothing but weight and making your car slower and making that motor work that much harder. So it's just fine plastic. You won't really snap anything. I don't see the need to put aluminum on there. Maybe you can put aluminum spurs on there. It seems just fine. Doesn't need it though. Then I was putting in my 5-wire servo. You don't necessarily need to do it this step. You can install your board, get everything plugged in, and that's what I wound up doing. I think I installed my servo a little too early. Make sure to center that servo out, because it's a pain in the butt to take everything off and take everything out and center it. And then you just need to snip that little nub off. Now, please advise caution when working with anything sharp. I used a pair of clippers, and I also used my hobby blade to just kind of chisel it off. You can use a rotary tool like a Dremel or some other knockoff. I just chose to use my knife because I didn't feel like messing around and getting the Dremel all ready and then have to put that away. When using a knife was just pretty simple. So just get it as good as you can. You could probably even just use a knife the whole way through. You probably didn't need to snip it off, but that's just what I did. You could probably skip that. And you want it flush, so you're yeah, see, there you go. That was nice and flush. Sure, there's like maybe like a 0.5 millimeter sticking up, but it's not going to make too much difference. And then just get your mounting tape. The particular mounting tape I have is just a piece of crap because my Hobbytown USA suckered me into buying it, saying, "Oh, it's really good. It's their best product." Now be very careful. This is actually where I went wrong, and I threw a little hissy fit over off camera. What wound up happening was I accidentally punctured the board for the switch, so I wound up chopping the switch off and just soldering those wires together. Which you can do that for constantly on, but if you can manage to keep that switch on there, more power to you. I honestly can't remember which one is on and off, so be sure to, when you go to install yours, take a picture with your phone or something, or have a clear image in your mind on which one goes where. Horizon Hobby does mention it in their video, but when it goes to actually doing it, like I still accidentally installed it wrong, even though they told me. Now, those plastic steering links are a known problem to me. What you can do is take like a gift card to like a major retailer, or an old credit card might work better, and just drill your own holes and just match the length up. You can do it that way. That seems to work a little better. You don't need to get the brass ones. Those just bend and just makes it a lot harder on the steering. What you can do is you can get like a lighter and put a couple of wraps of heat shrink tubing onto the stock servo to tighten up that steering a little bit better. If you're underage, like under 18, just be sure to ask a parent to buy you like a lighter. I'm 20 years old. I can just walk in and buy a lighter. The cool thing was I went to my hardware store. I walked up, asked for a lighter, and they didn't even card me, so I think that was pretty awesome. Alright, so now I got it on. I decided to try to start screwing it in, but seeing as we got rid of that one post, you don't really need to screw it in. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I just wound up mounting it with the servo tape. So it's not necessary to do this. I'm not sure if the shroud will still, well, it'll probably still, it'll still work. Like, you can still put the shroud on because, you know, hey, there's a 27 megahertz board that was screwed in there, so it'll probably work. Horizon Hobby recommends you snip that little board, like that little nub off where you had the screw in, but you could probably just put this 2.4 gigahertz board in there and not worry about it. So that's one way. I just wound up mounting it. You could probably mount it with some double-sided tape or some Velcro. That seems to work very well too. I use Velcro for a lot of things. And put your servo in. I probably should have done a couple of wraps of heat shrink tubing, but that'll be for another video. So then you just attach your connectors, and you know, you make sure that it's nice and snug in there. Don't be alarmed if it takes a little bit of force. Just be very careful. And just showing you that that's the 3-wire motor connector. There we go. I also have a 10250 kV motor that I have not even opened yet. I just don't think that putting more power is worth it. I think 8750 kV is plenty fast. Alright, and just tuck that battery wire under there. And guys, when you're using your nickel metal hydrides or your lipos, don't leave it plugged in after you're done. That'll sure it may be considered off, but it is not off. It'll still take power from it, and that's how you get like your dead batteries, and you gotta jump start it like how I did with the Micro T. And yeah, it's really weird to try to mount that to get the wires for the servo looped through there. It took me like 10 minutes to figure it out. And guys, if you get frustrated or something, take a break, come back to it, go outside in your backyard, run a pack through your larger vehicle or whatever, what have you. So we're getting towards the end here, and I actually show you that I just soldered the wires together. So, well, actually I twist them together and then I put a solder on it. So there we are. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. I will definitely be having some brushless running videos, and we'll see you guys next time.